Maybe you can get a kick out of this the same way that I do. It's not what you know, it's what you are in energy. Okay. Which is your core, right? Like a blast furnace. The core motor, the core, the core drive motor. So I was reminded because I just went out, grounded my feet to the earth, right? The battery, grounding, look directly up at the soul, being a monopole with the sun. And boy, it went pink. The sun was expanding pink because the sun were mirrors. It's experiencing the pink heart that I have with green. It's when you think about this, why would a 13-year-old boy in seventh grade junior high school choose to ask his mother, I want to go down the fabric store and pick out a pattern in order to make my own shirt? And without even thinking about it, I was attracted directly to fabric that I found that had a pink background with green dots on it. Okay, so in other words, there wasn't anybody that told me, hey, go pick out a fabric that's pink in the background with green dots on it, and then go make a shirt for yourself. No, I decided that I was going to pick out that fabric. I picked that color. I picked those green polka dots. Why? Why would a child, without even thinking about it, just naturally just do that? There must be something about pink and green, particularly green dots. Green dots, right? Now, this gets into sneaky. This is what we call the war of deception. David Icke was very good at pointing that out. It's called the war of deception. Why is that? Well, because don't hold me to dates and times because there isn't any time when there's only what love is. But I remember a number of years ago, I think it was within at least 10, were known as cards that you could get at a big box store called Green Dot. Oh, Green Dot. So now we're into metaverse, huh? Now we're into metadata, now we're into Facebook, now we're into Google, now we're into AI. So they invert stuff. See? So they use what they know we are to try and fool us of the world, which is the illusion. Because what does a green dot represent? That was a magnetic strip. You could load your money. Now we're back to the interest side of things, which means if you start with zero, right? And then zero is gifting you energy, but saying that, by the way, that's not really a gift because we're giving you 1,000 buckaroos, but you got to pay us back 5% on top of that. Well, if you start with zero and you just gave me 1,000, the only way that I'm going to be able to give you back that 1,000 plus 5, I'm a calculator. There is a mathematician in me as a polarity integrator between minus slash plus, which is negative magnetic polarity, and positive magnetic polarity. You want me running a deficit. You want me running energy debt. Because where's that extra 5 going to come from if there's only 1,000 in circulation? Okay, now believe it or not, when you're a polarity integrator, you can measure that on a planetary scale. Did you know that? Between the balance between the two poles on the planet. So you got to know that when your oversoul is plugged in to the magnetosphere between the two poles as an androgynous oversoul polarity integrator, man, you got to maintain the balance. And so, believe it or not, the mathematician is built into my oversoul knows how to maintain that balance by measuring the difference between what I am and what I'm experiencing on that terrain to keep the poles balanced until the real cavalry shows up. What? You got to know that the universum, a single pole, a monopole, right, is in balance with the water worlds, right? So I wanted to remember why I actually started to do this video, because I was thinking about technology. Because like my clan mother, for example, Karen Ann Luke McDonald, uses Genius app biofeedback, right? Runs scans, right? Just like, remember Terminator, as soon as he landed. That's called scanning codes, visual information codes, right? Otherwise, you're living in darkness, which means I can't see any colors. I can't see any colors. There's no colors. In order to see colors, you got to have some light, right? Just like I use another example. When you're a little boy and you know that there's a room that you haven't been in, you don't know what's there, right? But you know that there's a light switch in there. So I remember watching some little boys open the door, reach their hand in, knowing where the switch is, turning the switch on, right? So that the light is on before they walk in, because they don't want to walk into that darkness, because now they don't know what's in there that might be lurking in there like a shadow bee. So when I realized as a child, because I picked my family to jump into, so my father was an aeronautical engineer and he was a brilliant mathematician and engineer. And so I was perusing through all of his aeronautical and scientific trade journals. So now I'm using the exponential function and the acceleration of learning between learning as a soul integrated with the spirit in the mirror, and the speed of learning through an AI, which is a machine. And you begin to realize, as I did when I was about 6 years old, that you have the integration of technology, you have the integration of biotechnology, and you have the integration of spirit and soul. And there's a torque differential speed in math between the speed between one and the other. Okay? So that's one of the reasons why most of the time I've kept it within my own self, because I'm not in the business of communicating something of what I'm aware of that might cause another being to have what? A negative reaction, emotional state of experience by what I communicate, which is an experience in energy communication. So when you're sensitive as an empath, what I do to you, I do to me. Now we can get into the information. Sometimes I would say it's just information. How you interpret, translate, and react emotionally, since energy in motion is an emotion, particularly if you're a female with the higher octave. I don't want to lower the higher octave of the flower side, because there's a higher octave as being androgynous in my soul's energy. So I'm very sensitive on what I might say, because I can already measure the resistance and the electrical density of a negative magnetic polarity reaction state, that instead of experiencing what love is, which you were in the state before I communicated it, because we don't want you to experience a negative magnetic reaction, because then I'm going to experience that reaction in me. Even though I was aware as a small child The Achilles heel of creation is the integration of technology that we thus become held captive to as a result of the other. So the way that I knew this as an old soul, so to speak, because of how many places that I was going to and having to maintain the balance, it means that I went deliberately without an enormous amount of electrons because we're in the business of gifting electrons. So you don't want to be held captive to the money system, which is evil. So I don't want to participate in evil, which means I'm participating with electronic money that is used as evil crimes against humanity, from which they're held captive to the illusion through technology. Whoops. So now we get into the healing community, and as I mentioned it to my clan mother, I do not have the luxury, okay, of those technologies, of the software libraries that I forget what's her name, Policano and Mr. Ryan have put together. So what I do is I salute them because my clan mother spends so much of her time developing things that are helping to heal you. So that warms my heart, and that's beautiful. That's love and service to others. In my case, on the other hand, because I move so fast, I'm not in the same place for very long where I have the ability to order something like that or even have enough money to order something like that and be able to acquire it and use it. So I used to say to myself, I'm old school. You know what old school is, right? The good old-fashioned way. Remember the good old-fashioned root beer? Good old-fashioned root beer. That's another war of deception because there's plenty of sugar in root beer, huh? Like A&W root beer, right? Acid rain, acid batteries. Okay, so you can quantify this, believe it or not, in what's known as the alpha numerical field, which are the visual codes that are running through the matrix. Remember the matrix? You see all the numbers and the codes. So you realize that your energy, which is based on visual information codes, is experiencing being in the movie. You're in the movie based on visual information codes that you're running through your supercomputer processor. And you got a calculator that's built in. Right. Yeah. That's your minus slash your plus. So the old-fashioned way that I do it is with my soul, my oversoul, my pole, my single pole, which means I do it with what love is, which means my heart and soul. It is my soul integrated with my spirit that is in my mirror, doing everything I can to keep my spirit as purified as possible, which is called running a hot mirror. That means you're burning off all the codes, all the viral codes, which is trying to corrupt your genetics, which are the codes of the original 12 by 12, which launched the war in heaven, because I'm born in heaven. I experience what heaven is because I am what love is. So you know that love is what heals you. So you know the power that you have through your heart and soul with your spirit to heal another being, even though you may not have crystals, even though you may not have technologies, because I've experienced what it felt like when I was with a girl who was an O negative, who had 3 altars, who had as she described it, a cold heart. And I was in her house for about a week and a half on the island of Oahu. And she told me when I met her, I'm a shapeshifter, so you know what a shapeshifter is, right? And so one day when she was in the house with me, she came up to me and she began feeling the eternal love I have through my heart and soul. She was able to experience in her, so I realized she was ready. Because you got to know that eternal love, which is an atom that is vibrating at the highest rate of speed, we are here, or how do I put this? I am before you are, which means eternity is present with you. My heart and oversoul represents eternity. That means the energy that I am is energy that is eternal. That means that what happened to you that you're present with is before you were experiencing the first trauma to your soul. And she began pouring tears out of her eyes that was like a fire hydrant. And I thought that I was going to reach what is called 0 point, which is 0 ohms. She was going to be able to experience in her own heart and what was left of her soul to recover the fragments that were lost in space. You know what that does, snapping your fingers. So I always had visions of this girl with her arms straight up in a state of love and joy, where her spirit's been released from captivity. She has regained her soul from the moment she arrived in creation. Her name was Misha. And this is where the mimicking comes in. She actually, when I told her that I had to go back from Oahu to the Big Island, she was screaming and yelling at her husband to not let me leave, and was angry that my energy was leaving to go back to the Big Island. So she realized that it was possible, as I know that it was possible, to heal a hybrid without technology. When you're the one, when you're a single pole, we have the ability to do that. So I made an agreement with her, because it sort of goes like this. You didn't happen before I did. I came first. What? That's the one. That's a Neo. That's a Neo joined with Trinity. Therefore, the one has the ability, vibrated at the highest speed of a love vibration, to heal you from whence you came into creation. Because you got to know, you didn't come before the one. So you know that it started with a love vibration, an infinity love vibration, which is infinite possibilities, infinite creative imagination. And they don't have that. That's why they hate us. That's right. They realize how powerful that energy is, because it's healing energy and it's the truth. Girls know what unconditional love is, which is true love that goes on forever, because they're going to experience the energy and the vibration and what that energy feels like being in the presence of that energy. That's the one. She was in the presence of the one, and she knew that. I cried for her once when she got over here to the Big Island to actually watch a girl who was O negative get down on her knees like she was worshiping my feet because of the energy that she was present with. And I picked her up and I said, Misha, please don't do that. That's not how this works. This energy is given to you as a gift. It's unconditional. You're in the presence of the one love vibration that goes on forever. That's why I'm here, because you wanted to experience my energy, because you wanted to be healed, and I will be more than happy to gift the energy and work with you in order for you to be able to do that. Sadly, however, she continued to drink, continued to take Xanax, because her energy is so unstable, and because of all the programming of what she's held captive to, which is the matter side, which is the material side, which is the money side, which is everything is mine. And she couldn't break the time looping of that. That's the battleground. It's the time loop. That was brilliantly illustrated in War of the Worlds. Right? So all you got to do is look on Facebook and you can see all the time looping. See all the time looping. That's their cybernetic stuff. Have a great day. I love you all.